4 weeks in the books. Dolphins, Jets, one team makes it to 1-3. One team makes it to 0-4. Another AFC showdown on Monday Night Football. Sounds good to me. It's Dolphins Post Game right now on Sports for Beginners and on the ice and behind the benches streaming. Fins up.
Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports. From the fans' perspective, here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun.
Fins up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dolphins Post Game. I am your host, Thomas McGregor. Dolphins Nation, it is finally time for a club dub edition of Dolphins Post Game as the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins play Monday Night Football on the 4th week of the NFL season. And the Miami Dolphins weren't alone. They were playing a double hitter Monday night to start the season. They were facing a team who was 2-1 in the Cincinnati Bengals. But we'll talk about that Monday Night Football matchup more in a bit. But first, a topic of conversation that I've had throughout the first 3 weeks was, where does Mike McDaniel stand? And I was going to talk about that as we were preparing for Monday Night Football, but obviously we couldn't do that on Sports for Beginners. Maybe we'll try again next primetime matchup that the Dolphins have for another before they kick off show for Miami Dolphins. But we'll see if that happens. The head coaches are Mike McDaniel, Aaron Glenn. Of course, Mike McDaniel has had heat on him, and so has Aaron Glenn, I'm sure. There has been a lot going on between both head coaches as to whether or not they're staying or going, and their job is on the line. Your quarterback's Justin Fields for the New York Jets. He'll take on for the Miami Dolphins. Let's break it down in scores. But before we do that, let's take a timeout, and when we come back, we will dive in to Monday Night Football's first of a doubleheader between the Dolphins and the Jets and talk about the game in its fullest. We will take a look at Miami's and Jets' next opponents before the show is up, as well as see what happened in Sunday's action for week number 4. Maybe even take a little peek at Thursday Night Football's contest for week number 4. That's all coming up, but the game breakdown is next when we return. Stay with us.
Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners.
Looking for conversations on the world of broadcasting, sports media, and from time to time, my favorite sports teams? Listen to Broadcast Map with me, Ali Musa. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Broadcast Map Facebook page. Search Broadcast Map. I wonder if I could make it. It's almost getting to 8 o'clock p.m., and I am still a few more steps away from home to get to my computer to listen to CNT Radio's Cosmopolitan Culture Club. The best of the best music from around the world. Can't wait I made it. Sienna T Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
All right, welcome back, everybody, into Dolphins Post Game. I am your host, Thomas McGregor. That is, of course, the stadios from Sienna T Radio, and of course, our Sports for Beginners podcast. Be sure to follow them on their Facebook pages. Of course, Sienna T Radio's website is your place to find the Melting Pot, the Cosmopolitan Culture Club, all those shows she provides by going to the website and hitting listen live when the shows are premiering. Our topic of conversation on this Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, Victory Tuesday, is the Monday Night Football match between the Hard Rock Stadium Miami Dolphins in Opa-locka, Florida versus the New York Jets, who also play at MetLife Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. It is Mike McDaniel versus Aaron Glenn. There he is. Aaron Glenn. The quarterbacks, as mentioned, are Tua and Justin. So Aaron Glenn and Mike McDaniel are the coaches for this matchup, which has obviously been quite a Monday Night Football game. The Dolphins do win it 27-21, but how? How did they do it? How did a team like the Dolphins pull it off, Dolphins fans? Well, let's take a look. How did they pull off their first win of the season, 27-21? Well, here's how they did it. And trust me, I'm pretty sure it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, I'm sure. The game begins with a field goal for the Dolphins, 3-0 Dolphins, thanks to Riley Patterson notching a field goal of what looks like, I believe the field goal term was a 47-yard field goal. 47-yard field goal, yep, up and good, 3-0 Dolphins. So Dolphins on the board early. We like that, Dolphins Nation. We like that. Jets Nation, a little bit of the nostalgia there. Okay, fine. 3-0. Whatever. Second quarter, it's 3-0 after one quarter of play. Dolphins on the football. They go up, 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 and with Riley Patterson getting his first extra point of this season against the Jets, up and good. It will be Tua, short middle to Darren Waller for a touchdown pass. Dolphins go up, so it's 10-0 Dolphins. But wait, before the half's over, thanks to a 4-yard run for the Jets, a 6-yard pass, 7-yard run, then another 4-yard pass, a timeout, a 5-yard penalty, 8-yard pass, an incomplete pass, then an 11-yard pass for a timeout, then another 5-yard penalty for a timeout, and a pass incomplete. Nick Folk would be the kicker for the Jets to nail a 58-yard field goal up and through the uprights. It is through, and the Dolphins come into the ball game of the second half in a close one. It is now 10-3 in favor of the Dolphins. So 10-3 Dolphins going out at half. Jets at halftime find themselves down, but not out. It is 3-10 Dolphins lead. So they lead by 7. And the Dolphins are hoping to continue leading, not by 7, but by more points. They open up the third quarter in this ball game with a touchdown on just Devon Achane with a rush for a touchdown, 20 over the Jets, thanks to Riley Patterson, the extra point up and good, and it is 24-10 in favor of the Dolphins. So 24-10, the score, Dolphins up big with now a 24-10, 24-3, I should say. Oh, excuse me. I went a little farther. At first, it was 17, thanks to another Darren Waller touchdown from Tua. I went a little farther. Tua and Darren Waller compare for a 9-yard touchdown. Riley Patterson kicks it up and good. The Dolphins, having 10, add on 17 to put the Jets down by 14. So it's 17-3. Now, to keep it in third quarter play, the Jets would also score another touchdown. This would be their first touchdown of the game. Justin Fields would scramble to the left-end corner of the field for 43 yards. All of a sudden, what was 17 is now a 10-17 Dolphin lead. So the Dolphins are in trouble with their lead. It is now 17-10 with the Jets getting a field goal from Nick Foles as an extra point now. Up and good through the uprights. It is a 7-point game still with a 10-17 score in favor of the Dolphins leading. Now, Devon Achane, we mentioned this earlier. He rushes for 9 yards. Riley Patterson kicks it up and good. And now, with the Dolphins leading 20-10, the lead goes up to 14 for the Dolphins. So the Jets find themselves down 2 touchdowns. It's now 14 touchdowns with the score 24-10. Fourth quarter action. Nick Folk at the dish for a New York Jets field goal. This one, earlier's field goal was from 58 yards. This one is from 50 yards. It opens up the fourth final quarter of Monday Night Football's first of a doubleheader. Up and good in 24 is the score now with 13 points for the Jets and 24 points for the Dolphins. Things are getting interesting now with the Dolphins leading 24-13 and only leading by 11 points. Things are getting interesting. So where do the Dolphins go from here? Well, they go to Riley Patterson, who, like Nick Folk, has had field goal opportunities. In fact, the only time he had a field goal was at the very beginning of the game in the first quarter of the first half. The only other time he had a chance to get a field goal in the game was later in the game, where it was 36 yards, 13-24 the score, and this one is up and through the uprights. The Dolphins' final point is scored, so it is Dolphins 27-13 the score in the third and final quarter of play, which of course is the fourth quarter of the second half. Justin Fields, deep pass up to Garrett Wilson for a touchdown of 23 yards, and then give it to Justin Fields to rush into the right end for a 2-point conversion succeed, and the Dolphins' final score would be 21-27 in favor of the Dolphins, 27-21, 27 at the end of the game. And the Dolphins are celebrating, as Kyle Krabs of Locked On Dolphins would like to say, Victory Tuesday is a club dub Tuesday in Dolphins land with the first dub of the season. Sad to say for the Jets, though, it is still just a regular Tuesday. They are 0-4, and things could not be worse for the Jets. The score in Monday Night Football's doubleheader second game, the Broncos win 28-3. But what's happened elsewhere on our Week 4 action? Well, we know one thing. The Buffalo Bills improved to 4-0 on the season with a 31-19 victory on Sunday afternoon over the New Orleans Saints. The Pittsburgh Steelers, speaking of Sunday morning, pick up a 24-21 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. The record's now 3-1 for the Steelers, 2-2 for the Vikings. That's the score for them. 0-4 for the Saints, 4-0 for the Buffalo Bills, or as many of us call them, the Big Bad Bills. The Detroit Lions pick up a victory as well, 34-10 over the Cleveland Browns. A record for the Cleveland Browns is 1-3. 3-1 is the record for the Detroit Lions heading into the next game. 2-2 the records for both the Commanders and the Atlanta Falcons, with the Atlanta Falcons picking up their second victory of the season, 34-27 the final, with the Washington Commanders, handing the Commanders their second loss of the season. And speaking of a 2-2 record, the Patriots have a 2-2 record with a 42-13 beatdown on the Carolina Panthers Sunday afternoon. Record for the Carolina Panthers is 3-1 with the loss of their third straight loss. They have lost 3 straight. And of course, they have only won 1 game, so it's 1-3 the record. The 0-3 Tennessee Titans go to an 0-4 record with a 26-0 loss to the Houston Texans. Yeah, they lost 26-0, being shut out of Houston Texans with a Houston Texans victory. Congratulations to Houston on the victory. The Tennessee Titans need a little bit more effort there. The New York Giants played against the LA Chargers, and they come out with a victory 21-18, the final. They are 1-3 to start the season, 4 weeks in, and 3-1 are the Los Angeles Chargers. But you know who else is 3-1? The 3-1 Indianapolis Colts. They were hoping to be 4-0, and they ended up going 3-1, loss with a win to the Indianapolis Colts. So it's a win to the Indianapolis Colts and the 2 losses that they had throughout the first 3 weeks. So they have picked up a victory just like the Dolphins, and do not worry about going to 0-4. They are now 3-1. And speaking of 3-1, the Indianapolis Colts are 3-1 as well. To the defending Super Bowl champions, who are 4-0 now to start week number 5. They take it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 31-5. That was a pretty good effort by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was a pretty good effort. It almost could have went the Buccaneers' way. Tampa Bay, proven just like the previous weeks for the Eagles, that it's not that easy to beat us. So they could have had the win, or they could have had the loss. In this case, they had the loss against the Eagles, who picked up the win. The San Francisco 49ers picked up a loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, losing 26-21 as well. Sunday Night Football's match, OT, and it's tied at the end of the game. 40-40, the final score there. It's 40 Green Bay Packers, 40 Dallas Cowboys, and their records go from 1-2 for the Dallas Cowboys to 1-2-1, 1-2-1, the record for them now. And speaking of 1-2-1, the Green Bay Packers are with the tie on Sunday Night Football. Huh? How did that happen? Relive the highlights and find out. Our last game we'll look at in Sunday's action is the Las Vegas Raiders game, where it's the Chicago Bears taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. But despite a valiant effort by the Las Vegas Raiders, they would lose just by 1 point. 25-24 the score. The Chicago Bears pick up a victory. It is 2-2, the record for the Chicago Bears, and it is 1-3 for the Las Vegas Raiders, as they lost their third game. All right, still plenty games to talk about, including Kansas City versus Baltimore. Actually, only one game to talk about after Kansas City and Baltimore, and that, of course, is that Thursday Night Football match between Seattle and Arizona. But only 2 teams remain undefeated. We'll take a break and get to our game stats. The victory speech is up next from the Miami Dolphins locker room. If we have it for you, we'll break down both teams' season in a nutshell throughout the first 3 weeks. We'll see what the next opponents are for the Jets and the Dolphins. We will provide you latest updates on what's happening next for Sports for Beginners and what's happening next for On the Ice and Behind the Benches. All of that still to come when Dolphins Postgame continues. It's Monday Night Football edition, and it is a winning edition of Dolphins Postgame, where the Jets lose 27. It is a 27-21 victory that we'll be talking about after the victory speech. Coming up next, when Dolphin Postgame continues on Sports for Beginners and on the ice and behind the benches. We'll be right back.
Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down, nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
You want to talk about a group with resolve, the way you guys went about it this past week, and that was difficult because we've been practicing pretty well. The idea in this league is not to have any sort of style points. It does not matter, okay? You win games and you continue to progress. And it's a long journey, and it's not for the timid or the weak. But we are 1-3. We have a short week. I feel like this group likes this feeling a little bit more than the last feelings. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but we had a new guy, a new old guy. Off the rocker, Darren Waller, J-Ball.
Couldn't wait to just get back out here with y'all, man. I see the way that y'all respond when, necessarily the results weren't going our way. The men that I look up to in the world today is not the ones that got everything, that got all the money, that's flashy, that's doing all. It's the men that know how to respond when adversity hits.
Well, Dolphins Nation. So there you have it. That is the Dolphins locker room. That is the Dolphins victory speech locker room. And they are happy, as they should be. It is a club dub edition of Dolphins Post Game on Sports for Beginners and On the Ice and Behind the Benches. As I mentioned, after the victory speech, we would get into our, stats and whatever that went down on this game, and we're going to talk about the teams in a nutshell. But first, real quick, even though we're going to do this after our final break of the program, talk about where the Jets and the Dolphins play next week, and we'll break it down for you when we get to our game balls of the game. I do want to remind you that the next opponent, before we get into that final break, for the Jets will be the Dallas Cowboys, who, as we mentioned, due to a Sunday Night Football tie-up in overtime with a 40-40 tie in regular season football against the Green Bay Packers, another victory, and only have 2 losses, the record for them if they do beat the Jets, which ultimately would mean the Jets 0-4 right now. They would go to 0-5. Could that be the case? Probably not. For the Dolphins, their next opponent after an AFC with the Buffalo Bills, the Patriots, and of course, now the Jets, takes a little bit of a breather now as they go to play the Carolina Panthers, who are not of the AFC, they are of the NFC South. They're the NFC South division, so they will play against Carolina Panthers. 1 o'clock start on Sunday. We will probably have that for you on Monday here on Sports Beginners, and possibly Tuesday on the ice and behind the benches. We'll have it for you. And then, of course, they won't be back to primetime action until they face Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens ahead of their season series finale with the Buffalo Bills of 2 games, which will be at 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS, the 10th week of the season. Then, of course, they'll play the Commanders in early morning football at 9:30 in the morning, week 11, when they play the Commanders, the Santiago Stadium, Madrid. So we'll be playing in the Madrid time lines there. 9:30 in the morning Eastern will be the Dolphins and Commanders game before the bye week for the speaking of bye weeks. I promise we'll get into our stats when we are done with this. But the bye weeks to start the season are the Bears, the Falcons, the Packers, and the Steelers. So the Steelers and the Falcons, along with the Packers and the Bears, records will remain where they are. The 2-2 Bears will head to their bye week 2-2 before they face the Commanders coming out of the bye week on the 6th week of the season. That's next week. The Buffalo Bills will be next up for the 2-2 Atlanta Falcons as they approach their bye week in the 5th week at 2-2. So the Bills are 4-0. They will be 5-0 probably by the time they face the Falcons. But we'll see. Falcon fans, tune in to Buffalo Bills Post Game to find out if Buffalo is 4-1 heading into their matchup against you week 6 or 5-0 heading into their matchup with you next week. Green Bay Packers bye week this week. Next week it is back to business with the 2-1-1 Packers taking on the right now 2-2 Cincinnati Bengals, but Cincinnati may have their 3rd win of the season when they take on, before they face the Packers, the Detroit Lions this Sunday at 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Or they may be 2-3 with a loss. You never know. Packers will remain at 2-1-1 as we mentioned, because they are on the bye week. And the Steelers will remain at 3-1 before they face the Cleveland Browns next week at 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock a.m. Mountain, 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific. Be a good matchup, I'm sure, for them. That'd be a great match. We'll see where the season goes. So they are your bye weeks for this week. The Dolphins and Jets bye weeks are coming, but they aren't for another couple of weeks, I don't think. So we have football for you with those teams until their bye week says, let's go. And actually, speaking of the Jets bye week, did we pass the bye week or did we not pass it yet? We did not pass it yet. We're actually coming up to it. That will be the 9th week of the season. So just a few weeks left before the bye week for the Jets. And of course, the Giants of the Miami Dolphins do not have a bye week of football until they come into the 12th week of the season. So they won't have a bye week until they come in a few weeks from now to the 12th week of the season. We are already into the 5th week of the season, so that means we have week 6, that's 1 week, week 7, that's 2 weeks, week 8, that's 3 weeks, week 9, that is 4 weeks, week 10, that is 5 weeks, week 11, that is 6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks before the bye, with the 11th week being our last football edition before the bye week on the 12th before the bye week. Panthers. Then you've got a bunch of other games to play for as well. All right. Enough gab. Let's get into the game balls of the game and the stats. Let's get right to the stats here. So for the Dolphins and the Jets spent 29 minutes and 12 seconds with the ball in time of possession. 30 minutes and 48 seconds was the time of possession for the Miami Dolphins in this ball game. This is also coming courtesy of CBS Sports, is times of possession. So that's coming in as courtesy of them. Download the app for yourself, follow your team. The Jets had 23 first downs. The Dolphins had 19 first downs. 12 of them each for both teams were first down passing downs. 9 of them for the Jets were rushing. 5 of them were rushing for the Dolphins, and 2 each penalty first downs for the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. Both teams were efficiently good 4 times out of 9. 12 attempts on third down for the Dolphins. They were efficient just 4 straight times. And for the team of the baseball pieces that are the New York Jets, So they converted 4 out of 12 chances they had on third down. They converted once on the fourth downs. The Jets, however, had 2 chances on fourth down, converted once, could not convert a second time. They each played a total of 57 plays, but the Dolphins played 56 plays, so one more than the Jets did, for an average 5.4 yards per play, 7.1 yards per play for the Jets, in which they totaled the total yard of 404 total yards to 300 yards for the Miami Dolphins. 300 yards for the Miami Dolphins. Yep, you heard me right. 300 yards for the Miami Dolphins and 404 yards for the New York Jets. Ultimately, passing-wise, the Jets had the upper hand with 226 passing yards, 177 passing yards for the Miami Dolphins, averaging just 7.1 yard per pass for each. Tua and Justin had both equal amount, 7.1 yards per pass, making 20 out of 27 completions for Justin, and 17 out of 25 for Tua. Tua was not sacked this entire ball game in Monday Night Football's doubleheader first game. However, Justin Fields was sacked 2 times for a loss of 19 yards. Both teams kind of even on the rushing ground with 123 yards, 31 rushes for Tua Tagovailoa's team on the ground, averaged just 4.0 yards a carry. Averaging just 7.0 yards a carry per rush on 28 rushes is Justin Fields' team with 100 and just 28 rushes. Now, of course, we need to talk about red zone efficiency, but unfortunately, and I'm going to try to keep away from the Jets on this one because the Dolphins had a pretty good, better red zone efficiency, converting just 3 out of the 4 chances they had on chances for the Jets. They could not convert, and they could neither convert the 2 times they had in the red zone. So, that is a difficult thing to fall on. But hey, that's football sometimes. The Miami Dolphins only had 40 penalties to give. They received 6 out of the 40 penalties. The Jets turned the ball over 3 times and fumbled the ball and lost it 3 times. But they also fumbled the ball 3 times. The Dolphins fumbled the ball 2 times, but were unable to recover, or they didn't lose the ball. They didn't lose the ball. Out of 101 penalty chances, the Jets were given only 13 of those penalties. That's pretty good. Both teams again scored 2 touchdowns. The Dolphins scored 3 with 1 on the ground each to the Dolphins and the Jets. 2 in the air for the Dolphins and 1 in the air for the Jets. Returned yards 180 for the Jets, 96 for the Dolphins in terms of yard return. The Jets punted once for a return yardage of 18 yards. When they punted, it was 562 kickoff yards, so 162 yards each kickoff yard. 3 kickoff for the Dolphins, 96 yards. Both teams did not throw a single interception. So there you have it. That is your team comparisons as part of game stats. We will take our final timeout of the program for Dolphins Postgame and set you up for Dolphins, Panthers, Jets, and their Week 5 opponent, the Dallas Cowboys. On the other side, we'll get to game balls of the game as well. But before we get to those games, let's wrap up our Sunday slate schedule with a 37-20 Kansas City Chiefs victory over the Baltimore Ravens. That should have been the Sunday Night Football matchup, I think, instead of the 40-40 game that was played with the Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys. That was quite a game. for Dallas and Green Bay, though a lot of us have different says about it. I think it was a great game, but you guys have your different says, so I'll let you guys say what you have to say about it. 40-40 was the final in Sunday Night Football's game. Dallas and Green Bay tied. Oh, and yes, I've gone through almost everybody. The Patriots, of course, 42-13 victors over the Carolina Panthers. 2-2 the record for the Patriots, 1-3 record for the Panthers. The only teams that are 4-0 are the Buffalo Bills, 31-19 the score there. And of course, the Eagles, 31-25 the score against Tampa Bay. Buffalo and Philadelphia are 4-0. They are the only other two undefeated teams in this football season. I think it was a classic matchup. We all have our say. I think it was a classic. You guys have a difference of opinion, and that's quite all right. We all have our difference of opinion, and we are obligated to give those opinions. I think it was a pretty good game, but we all have our difference of opinion, and I understand how many of us may feel about it. Maybe it wasn't as good as a game as people thought. Who knows? That's just my view. With the Sunday schedule wrapped up for week number 4, Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Monday night football game matched up, we will take a break and come back with you for the final time on Dolphins Post Game. And then that's it for Dolphins Post Game. We'll tell you what's to look forward to on Sports for Beginners and what's to look forward to on the Ice Behind the Benches. Then wrap it up like that. Hope you stick with us. Game balls of the game and thoughts on the Jets and Dolphins season, plus their next opponents. That's all next when we return. Stay with us.
Looking for conversations on the world of broadcasting, sports media, and from time to time, my favorite sports teams? Listen to Broadcast Map with me, Ali Musa. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Broadcast Map Facebook page. Search Broadcast Map. I wonder if I could make it. It's almost getting to 8 o'clock p.m., and I am still a few more steps away from home to get to my computer to listen to CNT Radio's Cosmopolitan Culture Club. The best of the best music from around the world. Can't wait. I think I made it. CNT Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
All right, everybody, welcome back into Dolphins Post Game. It is the Dolphins. It is the Jets. Next week on Dolphins Post Game, it is the Dolphins. It is the Panthers. As you heard when we came back from our second break of the program, we had the Dolphins locker room celebrating a 27-21 victory over the New York Jets. Will that be the same case happening in the match? That is the match. When they face off against the Panthers, who knows? All we do know is that there is a lot at stake going in the next week for football fans. The Jets, however, face a tough challenge. They are 0-4, and next week they are against the Cowboys. The how about damn Cowboys? The Dallas Cowboys will take care of business against the Jets tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern. I should say this Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern, as well as the Dolphins face off against the Panthers. And while Buffalo is Sunday Night Football against the Patriots, it's the Eagles against the Denver Broncos. But at 9:30 in the morning, it's Minnesota. It's the Cleveland Browns in, I believe, London is where the match is taking place. I could be wrong. It is indeed in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, London, next Sunday, 9:30 a.m. local time of the East Coast, that is. They will have the Denver Broncos and the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm sure, being played for them. But of course, the Vikings and the Browns are the action for them. Thursday Night Football is the Niners and the Rams. The 49ers and the Rams will take center stage this Thursday night on football night. All right, here we go. Monday Night Football was Dolphins Jets. Next Monday Night Football on week number 5. Could be a great match either way. You never know. As far as game balls of the game, player of the game edition goes, I think both Justin Fields and Tyreek Hill. We forgot to talk about Tyreek Hill as he did leave the game being carted off the field due to a serious leg injury. Certainly hope he is okay. For Dolphin fans out there, certainly hope Tyreek Hill is okay. And then, of course, he is supposed to miss some NFL time. I don't know the extent of the injury. I can't really tell you about it, but he was down and out. Hopefully he is okay. I would give him a game ball of the game and give Tua and Justin Fields the players of the game as the game balls of the game there. Most likely the reason I'm giving Justin Fields a game ball of the game, folks, is because Justin Fields not only did it on the air, but he also did it on the ground. He also did it on the ground with a touchdown for 7 attempts, 81 yards. He also had a touchdown on the air for 27, 226 yards. Pretty good job by him. Hopefully that continues into next week as they try to somewhat get a W in this season before it's already too little too late. All right, those are my game balls of the game for players of the game. Garrett Wilson and Darren Waller fall in the final game balls of the game for me. Let me know what your game balls of the game are. And if you're interested in baseball, after tuning in to Bill's post game and this post game show, I hope you join us for Blue Jays weekly recap as we get you set for Blue Jays versus either the Red Sox or the Yankees. That game is underway right now for the wild card action. If you're interested in that, join us after Dolphins Post Game officially finishes up. It'll be here on the ice and behind the benches, and that's where we'll be sending you when we finish up this game. Now, look, guys, as we tell you what to look forward to on Sports for Beginners, there'll be great content as well. Let's take a look at the Jets and Dolphins season so far. Obviously, it hasn't been great for the Jets, but let's take a look at how their games have gone so far. Now, of course, most notably, they lost 34-32, pretty close game. If you listen to what I have to say about it against the Steelers, they lost that game. It was a pretty bad game that they lost, but they put an effort in, only to lose by a safety, 34-32. Next week, not as good as week 1 was. Not as good of an effort as week 1 was when they only lost by a safety, 34-32. They lost 30-10, which was a 10-point game. They lost to the Buffalo Bills. And then just the previous Sunday, before they faced the Dolphins, this past week, week number 4, which is now in the books, they lost, again, close, by a safety, 27-29. They lost by a safety. The Dolphins beat them. Yes, they did. 27-21, which means they lost by 6 points. That's the first game this season they've lost by 6 points. When they lost 34-32, they only lost by a safety, which was a 2-point game. They lost by 10 points, 30-10, the final score there in week 2. And again, they lost 27-19. But that was a loss of 2. So they lost 27 to the Buccaneers. They may have lost that game, but they had a pretty good effort in that one. just like they had a pretty good effort in the Steelers game. And make no mistake about it, this Monday Night Football game almost was the Jets game. 27-21, that seemed like a pretty good game for the Jets to win. Ultimately not the case. It was in the Dolphins' favor. So to all of you who tune into a guy, I won't mention his name because I don't know his full name on Insta or IG. So I'll leave that anonymous. You're welcome, Mr. Victory Ice Cream person. You got the Victory Ice Cream ready. You've got a Club Dub edition of Dolphins Post Game. Let's see how many more Club Dubs we get. Next up is the Chargers. Let me make one thing really, really clear that I think a lot of you should understand. The Indianapolis Colts was a terrible game against the Miami Dolphins. It was terrible. 33-8. That was a bad game by the Dolphins. It was terrible Dolphins football. Gone. Garbage game. Bye-bye. See you later. Patriots lost 33-27 when they lost to the Patriots. That was a better game by the Dolphins, I will say. That was a better game. Way better than the Indianapolis Colts game. Way better. That started the season. They only lost by 6. So it was a way better game. Way better game. They only lost by 6. And then the previous week, Thursday Night Football, where the Dolphins played Thursday night against the Bills. Yeah, I know they lost, but really everybody was banking on Mike McDaniel's job. Maybe with this win, things change, and things do change in the season. Things do change as the football season goes on. Maybe not as quick, but Buffalo Bills to finish off Dolphins post game. The Buffalo Bills lost 31-21. The Dolphins losing the game. They only lost by 10. And again, when they picked up the win against the Jets, 2021, they could have easily lost that game, but they didn't lose it. They won the game. That is amazing. All right, everybody. Weekly Blue Jay recap is about just minutes away from getting underway here on the ice and mind the benches. I do hope you guys tune in to our next Dolphins post game when they take on the Chargers. That, of course, is a Sunday game for the Dolphins, when they'll take on the Panthers. And Jets fans, if you are really doubting the Jets, I highly recommend that if you don't want to be a part of the Jets this season and just wait till they're ready for the off season, even if you're a diehard, I highly recommend you watch something else that isn't Jets football related. Because if this season goes down really badly, I highly recommend you tune into something else until they work things out. It doesn't look like the Jets are playing their best ball. When they do, they will come and get you in. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying that to make sure that if you want to watch something that isn't really embarrassing, like the Jets, because I'll admit it is pretty embarrassing for you guys to watch that. I admit it's pretty embarrassing, but I mean, it is up to you guys. The Dolphins win this game. The Jets lose this game. They're 0-4. The Dolphins are 1-3 heading into next week. Maybe the Jets will pick you up a good one on the next one with a victory over their next week opponent in the Dallas Cowboys. Who knows? Maybe it'll be an overtime victory. You just never know. With that being said, my name is Thomas McGregor. Blue Jay fans, let's have a postseason week. And if you are fans of the football teams I cover here on Sports for Beginners and on the ice and behind the benches, have yourselves a great week. Enjoy your Victory Tuesday, Dolphin fans. We'll see you next week when the Dolphins take on the Panthers. Hopefully another victory week. And a reminder that the victory speech from the Dolphin locker room, as well as every other game, will be in the link of the description below if you missed it on our show. That's it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoy it and enjoy your week. Until then, Fins Nation, fins up, and I'll see you next time on Dolphins Postgame.
Thank you so much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast 8231@gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time.